very much for coming.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate that. The other trustee here is Josh Pennock. We're both running for re-election this year. We both have been in office for 8 years. It's been an honor serving in the township. I have served also in city government, and I think I'm probably the only candidate or the only elected official in the whole county that has done both city government and township government before I moved out to the, and I love Jesus too, like your head. Before I moved out to the township, I lived in the city of Eastlake. And I got involved. I was on the Board of Zoning Appeals for 8 years and learned a lot. I was a 34-year-old kid. The mayor lived around the corner and kind of became friends, and I had a real interest in government. And he says, Chuck, why don't you get involved? And I said, sure. You know, what can I do? And he says, we'll get you on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I said, okay, what do they do? I had no idea. You know, it's just honest. It's just how it kind of goes. You get people who are interested. And so I served on the Board of Zoning Appeals for 8 years, and it was really an education, and it was really interesting. You know, you're put on the spot here. You got to cast a vote, and people can sit and say they'll make this decision or that decision. But when you're put on a spot and you have to rule against somebody, you got people in your room, right? And if you vote yes, you're going to make this person happy, and you're going to make this person unhappy. But you got to make those decisions, and you got to do it right. I remember, you may remember former Judge Joe Gibson. So Joe was our legal counsel in the city of Eastlake at the time, and Joe really took a lot of time with me as a young guy. I was very interested in kind of digging in and trying to understand the law. How does the law work? You know, because you can't just cast a vote on a whim. You can't just cast a vote because you like something or you don't. There has to be a legal basis for it. So Joe took a lot of time with me, and he always, the one point he told me, and I still remember clearly today, is he said property owners have property rights. And if you violate the property owner's rights, you expose your community to a lawsuit. And so you always do your best to protect the community, but also, you know, have to follow the law. So it was a real education. I got involved in Eastlake, ran for office, and I got elected in 2001. And you may recall that there was a tough time in Eastlake. I got on and didn't know what was right, what was normal. Was my new guy, young kid, I'm 40 at this point. I'm a young guy, and I'm serving in government, and I'm getting an education in life. I'm getting an education in government, and the lessons I learned in Eastlake, I have carried on with me. What I do in my job as trustee, and what I did in Eastlake, you know, they give you these budgets, and there'll be like 100 pages stacked, 8.5 by 11, and they're stacked. There's a big staple in the corner, and they give you this budget, and you're supposed to understand it and look at it and analyze it. Well, I didn't understand it. I never dealt with $12 million budgets, plus all the other supplemental, that was the general fund alone, plus all the other supplemental budgets that we had for the different accounts. What I ended up doing was I took all those budgets. There were literally thousands of line items, and I'm an Excel geek, if anybody uses Excel. I created my own budgets, my own spreadsheets, and I tracked all those expenses every month. So you're getting into office, learn the numbers. Learn the numbers, digest the numbers, absorb the numbers. If the math is wrong, government's going to fail. The numbers can't lie. So that's what I did. I got in there, and I remember I showed up to one meeting in Eastlake, and I had my computer. So I'm just starting out. I was kind of isolated because I was asking too many questions. And so the mayor was my friend, and now the mayor's not my friend. I'm asking too many questions. And I remember I showed up at the meeting, and we're having a budget hearing. I got my laptop opened up, and the finance director, he was told to make, I think, a 20% cut across the board. And so I'm looking at these numbers, and he was cutting natural gas, he was cutting electricity, he was cutting fuel, it was across the board. And it's like, how are you saving money with the natural gas? What are you doing to save 20% or whatever the number was? And the reality was they weren't. It was just cut. We're going to pass the budget. So I remember I show up and we're doing a review, and I have the laptop open, and I'm kind of being quiet and come up with the numbers, and the finance director calls something out, and I said, that's incorrect. And the mayor, made a comment, and the finance director says, no, I don't think that's right. And I said, well, I got it on the computer right here. We went through that thing, and from that point on, my computer was referred to as a computer from hell. The lessons that I learned there, I brought with me to Painesville Township in my service to the township. And I think Josh can attest, Josh and Gabe, the other trustee, Gabe Chickanetti, you may know Gabe, we really work well together, the three of us. We also have a fiscal officer, but they joke, they'll say, if there's a number question, they'll say, well, Chuck's got a spreadsheet for that, you know. So I've got always on my laptop, I've got spreadsheets for everything. Whether it's, you know, we pass levies, right? You pass a levy for a road levy, or you pass a fire levy. Whatever you're passing, when we put those levies on the ballot for the voters to decide if they want to pay for something, we built in capital expenditures, budgets. Before we came into office, they didn't have a capital plan. They didn't have a capital plan on what they were going to buy for the next 20 years. You know, they're just going to buy it, I guess, at some point. We wanted to know when you're going to replace the big snowplow truck. How many years is it supposed to last? Can we extend it out a little bit longer? Same thing with the fires, with the squads, all that. So when these budgets were made for these levies, we created, you know, we had a big spreadsheet set up, and it tells us every year what the dollar amount's going to be in that account, and then what we're going to spend that year. And so now as we're doing the budgets, and it's been a number of years, we've been in office now for 8 years, we're looking at the revenue balance in that account, you know, 5 years removed from the passage of a levy. Are we hitting that number? And I got to tell you, we are. We're very fiscally conservative. We watch the numbers. Sometimes you have to make an expenditure that you don't want to make, but you have to have the money there to make that expenditure, right? You have to have the money there to cover it. And so sometimes you can be a little more liberal in your spending. Other times you have to be a little more conservative in your spending, save for that rainy day. Serving in the township, you know, our big things are fire department, our roads. We have our administration, but we're also contracting with the sheriff's department for our policing, right? We don't have our own police department. We have levies for those. The general fund doesn't have a levy. We maintain off the normal income we get. We're watching the numbers. Fire department has grown over the years. Before we came into office, before Gabe came in too, the township decided to build another fire department across the railroad tracks. Now, Painesville Township is divided into really 4 different geographical areas. We're all around the city of Painesville, but we have pockets. And so in our department, like Concord, I think you guys have 1 fire department, right?
No, we have 2.
You have 2? I know they're talking.
Huh?
Leroy has 1. Leroy has 1. Well, we have 3 fire departments. You know, we have 3 fire departments. We've got a $5.3 million budget, I believe it is. It's a lot of money. We have to maintain 3 fire departments, buildings, and they're out there because just by where we're located, you know. Josh lives on one end of the railroad tracks. I'm at the far end. We only had the 1 fire station, and if that fire, if that fire, you got a fire at your house, or if you're having a heart attack at your house, or your loved one's having a heart attack, the squad can't get across the railroad tracks. So sorry, Joe, right? So the township decided to build another fire department. Well, that doesn't come cheap, folks. That's a $5.3 million budget. We have to have 3 of everything. That's just the way it is. We have 28, I believe, full-time fire department staff, and then we have, I don't know, probably 20-some part-timers that we fill in. So the full-time guys are all